Didn't expect this, did you? Voyager 1 has come back to life. It's hard to imagine that Voyager 1, which flew 241 kilometers away from Earth, has regained its vitality on April 18th this year after failing since last November. This old fellow, who has been working for nearly 47 years, has actually started working again. What's going on here? As early as November 14th last year, Voyager 1 had a malfunction. The data it sent back was no longer readable like before. The data, which originally contained scientific and engineering information, began to appear in a fragmented and garbled in front of the scientists. Initially, the ground crew thought it was just a common malfunction, so they ordered it to restart the device. However, the problem was not resolved. Considering that it could still receive data from interstellar space and perform normally in other aspects, scientists carefully examined and found that the root cause was in the Flight Data Subsystem, or FDS, which is one of the 3 onboard computer systems on the spacecraft. Its main function is to store and process all the instrument data detected on the spacecraft. The FDS would package and process the scientific and engineering data before sending it to Earth so that ground crew could read the data. The garbled situation was obviously caused by a packaging problem. After 5 months of technical discussions, scientists finally confirmed that 3% of the memory chips in the FDS were damaged and irreparable. You in front of the screen may have thought of the method of replacing the memory, but this is obviously impossible. First, Voyager 1 is already 241 kilometers away. Even with the speed of light and radio wave propagation, a round trip would take 2 days. With the current level of human technology, no spacecraft can catch up with it. Second, the memory it uses is the obsolete memory technology from 50 years ago. Although not as good as the present, it was the top technology at that time. It is composed of a network of intertwined lines and metal circuit boards. Each crossing point can be regarded as a memory unit or a bit, which can store either a 1 or a 0 by changing the direction of the current to change the direction of the magnetic field. It has a total of only 70 kilobytes of memory, while our mobile phones now have capacities of several hundred gigabytes. So, even if it were possible to catch up with Voyager 1, there would be no memory to replace it. To return to the main point, replacing the memory in a nice engineering way is impossible. So they rewrote the code, scattered the data in the faulty FDS memory, and rearranged it to be stored in multiple locations in the memory. This way, perhaps they could avoid the 3% damaged area. On April 18th, ground crew sent the patch to Voyager 1 via the uplink network. About a day later, it would receive the patch and rearrange the data, and then transmit the data back to Earth after another day. While the ground crew was anxiously waiting, the resurrection of Voyager 1 finally arrived. At this moment, the scientists were ebullient. It's hard to imagine that the 47-year-old Voyager 1 has risen again. Actually, it's quite difficult when you think about it. You in front of the screen may have also noticed that these ground crew members are quite old. This is because Voyager 1 is really ancient. Not only the personnel, but also a batch of ground control equipment can be regarded as antique artifacts. These are the devices that control Voyager 1. Perhaps, apart from them, no one else knows how to use them. However, we must know that Voyager 1 will eventually lose contact completely. But NASA hopes that this day will come as late as possible, because as Voyager 1 continues to fly, the interstellar space data it acquires will become more and more precious. If it can keep traveling in space, it will reach the theoretical Oort cloud in 300 years and is expected to pass near the Alpha Centauri system in 73,000 years. No one knows where it will ultimately end up, but we hope it can travel endlessly to see the vast universe for us.